This is the Real Melbourne Podcast, the central point of this beautiful city's culture. I'm Alex Dickinson. Very excited about our guests in the building right now. We talk about the media and linking up and putting our city on the map. You know, giving the platforms for artists, creatives, whoever, to speak their mind, get their stories out there, get their music out there. We've got another man in the building that's putting on for the city. We've got RollingUp Entertainment, Daniel from RollingUp Entertainment.
Good, beautiful people. Yo, shout out to Alex Dickinson and Real Melbourne. These guys are doing something different as well, as much as RollingUp is doing their thing, like Real Melbourne's doing their own thing. And Alex is the king of Melbourne. And I think people interpret that very differently because they think he must be the best at what he does or whatnot. But I the way I see it is like a king that looks after his people.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
That's how if people have seen the clip like that I've put out of like why I talk about why I'm the king of Melbourne, like it's on that sort of stuff, but it's also on a self-confidence thing. Like I'm proud of my city. I want to put on for my city, it's the ultimate version of what I want to be. And I'm not saying I'm the only king of Melbourne. There's a bunch of kings from Melbourne. There's a bunch of queens out here in Melbourne. But beautiful. I use it for me as a self-confidence thing and always to represent.
The way I see it is you're in every little pocket. You know what I mean? You're from the start. So you're from the thought to like the creator to then the media to then you're actually in the clubs where you get to play what you want to play. Like you're in every little pocket.
Yeah, so. I mean, there's a lot of control there, I guess.
Yes, it's really cool to see, man. I'm so proud of like you, and you inspire myself, and I'm sure a bunch of people that are looking to do similar things in media or just music in general.
Yeah, but that was great to see on your first podcast. Like you shouted us out, you shouted out a bunch of people that, you know, inspired you to start the podcast. Apart from that reason, why did you get started with RollingUp?
Why did I get started with RollingUp? I'll start off with how I got started off with the podcast because that's what the question's going to lead into. I've been thinking about doing a podcast for a few years now. It's just been sitting there. I've realized how important it is for a personal brand and to build a business later on. And I was going out to shows. I was going out to a lot of gigs and concerts and whatnot, and then I was going to a lot of local gigs, and I was like, yo, this is a vibe. This is a vibe. I'm having so much fun. I'm like, how have I not heard about this person before? Why haven't I heard about them? Someone's not talking about him. Why? And I came to a realization that no one's kind of talking about him. At least at that time, I didn't know about Real Melbourne. I didn't know about like AUDs and whatnot. And it finally came to me. I was like, look, I need to start a conversation on this, and I need to do it because no one else is going to do it. No one else is going to do it. And Australia really, really needs it at this time, just with all the creative juices cooking up in not only artists, but media and whatever goes on behind that. Whether it's a photographer, videographer, artist manager, managers, there's a whole bubble, and someone needs to talk about it. Talk to these people, and share that story. So
yeah, for sure.
That kind of led me into RollingUp, and I cooked up a bunch of ideas on what I wanted the name to be, and RollingUp stuck through. Yeah,
are you a bit of a weed head?
Rolling up for a reason. That is the subtext of it. However, the other subtext that goes along with it, I'm not sure if you guys have seen the logo, but it's got the mics have a little like swish going up.
Okay.
And the idea behind that is rolling up. So in music, in life, when whatever happens in life, you're going to have these moments where you're peaking. You're going to have those moments when you're in the valley. And eventually, you're going to come out on top. If you push forward, you're going to come out on top. That's the idea of rolling up.
That's dope.
Beyond all the... Whatever happens in an artist's career, you're not going to always, you know what I mean, kill the game. Eventually, you're going to come down low. But you're going to end up on the top.
Yeah, man. And to what you were saying before about being in these spaces, I saw your face a lot, you know, just around the scene before you even getting into the game. And I recall you saying on your first or second podcast, like, we support the Americans too much. You said you were spending like $300 at a Drake concert, and you realized that there was dope local artists here in Melbourne that you wouldn't spend, you know, a dime on. You know?
Yeah, well, the thing is that, people, everyone, me, myself, I have done it. We have gone to whatever, The Weeknd, all these big superstars. And then when your homie hits you up and he says, yo, come to a free show. Not even $5, $10. I'm playing my first free show. Please come along. And for an artist, that means so much. Like, it means the world for their homies to come along and support them and just see them in the crowd and see that, damn, this is what I'm creating. This is like what's coming. And I just find it unbelievable that there's not enough support. But at the end of the day, you got to prove yourself. People have this idea of entitlement, creatives, where they expect people to come. You got to give them a reason to come.
Yeah.
You got to give them a reason. You can't expect your homies to share your stuff without putting in the work. And not only music, but branding.
Yeah.
And branding is, we know it's how important branding is.
Yeah,
it's the game too. It's the 50-50.
Like, yeah, for me, like, first and foremost, like, the music has just got to be there for me.
Yeah.
Like, I can't necessarily buy into someone or get into their story and that sort of stuff if I don't vibe with the music, first and foremost. 100%. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, the work needs to be put in there. But to a lot of people from the city's credit, you know, we've got a lot of dope artists.
Yes, sir.
You were even commenting, like, with the
sir.
playlist that we've been doing. Like, we update that.
Yeah,
you know,
I do. I see. Yeah,
all
I'm
the
on
time,
that all
and
the time.
and not just with returning artists and that sort of stuff, new artists. So it's really good to see. Yeah, speak about some of your favorite artists from the city that you've come across.
From Melbourne City.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many. What I really want to touch on is the collectives that are coming out of Melbourne and forming. I see it as such it's really crazy the way collectives work, because say, like, local to local, we'll go off local to local and new wave. Once one person in the group shares it, everyone else is going to share it. They're going to share their own and their others' music. Then when the collective drops something, everyone's sharing something. So not only do you have one channel sharing like your content, you have 3, 4, whatever, how many people are in the collective. And that's just so powerful, because obviously you have more expansion, you have more networks. But yeah, in terms of collectives, I'm loving local to local and new wave. Infinity, they're doing something.
The teams, like, I really fuck with both of them, especially with new wave. Like, they've got a whole, like, kind of conglomerate going.
Yeah, that's a whole.
Yeah,
that's gonna change. Just I can't. Ridiculous. Like, it's gonna do something.
Right. How they organize that is beyond me. To manage 15 individuals, you know, to be consistently doing meetings and churning out music and content,
and it's a real family vibe when if you've ever connected with them. They're really tight too. Other individuals I'm listening to, Jordan Dennis. He's my cousin. He's the cousin. He's the homie. He's just my inspiration in general. He's what I'm doing. He's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Jalma, was speaking before I've said that Jalma and Unique, they're doing something ridiculous together, and coming from that Latino culture, it's so cool to see, like, someone from, like, back home doing it like the way they are doing it with the Spanish guitars. That's like my stuff. Yeah, man. VT Mooki's doing his thing too. I'm loving what he's doing.
You're gonna love the Poco Loco remix that's coming out.
I've heard it live. I've heard it live 2 or 3 times now, so it's pretty good. Senses dropped by Fungi, the coolest rapper. Andre Jamal's doing his thing. Even from all over Australia, like JC's. He's blowing up. He's an individual I think a lot of people are overseeing. Yeah, he's unlike anybody else I've ever seen.
Well, speak on that. Like, I'd like to kind of pick your brain on, like, your experiences with the guests that you've interviewed. You've interviewed JC.
Oh yes, that's a very good question.
Because, like, JC, I'm familiar with a bit of his music. I kind of just know him as, like, the hustler, you know, like the Russ route. Dropping 100%. Multiple songs, dropping music videos from Perth, and, you know, he does quite a few shows, you know, here in Melbourne. That sort of stuff.
Let me put things into perspective.
So, what was your thoughts from the interview when just basing him off? So
not only him, but his team. They call themselves the Young Team, and they are ridiculous. They consist of, like, JC and his community and his managers. They're hustlers too. Nick and Julian. Shout out to Nick and Julian and Red Wolf, the DJ. And pretty much what they did over 6 months was JC in himself in producing, mix and mastering, writing his own music, singing, rapping, being an instrumentalist, all on his own. At the age of 20, he dropped a he dropped a song a week alongside a music video. No one's ever done that before in music history.
Yeah. But how long was that?
6 months.
6 months, yeah.
That's 26 songs and music videos.
Yeah.
Whilst also touring Australia, whilst performing on the NBL halftime show, whilst doing podcasts, whilst doing small gigs.
You can't do anything else, can you? Yeah.
Who else has done that? No one in Australia. Russ has done it through 80. He dropped 87, 88, something like that, consecutive songs. But even then, JC's 20 years old. He's just getting started.
Yeah.
Imagine 5 years, 10 years from now. What is he gonna do? This dude's gonna sell out the MCG. And up
So
here,
you see big things for him then?
100%. I wholeheartedly believe that he'll be bigger than Drake.
No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You think so?
I don't think so.
Alright.
I know. I see it. I see something that's I've never seen before in an artist, and it's wild. It's it's genuinely unexplainable by words because, and he's speaking really positive things into the world. He's not talking about how is it, or you know how it is. There's obviously that side of music, but he's actually putting his truth into what he's saying. He's speaking his truth.
Right.
And that's what I vibe with and connect with on the next, another level.
Most definitely.
Let's go on to Jordan Dennis as well.
Sure.
Jordan Dennis, he was a close friend, cousin, as you may call it, where we've grown up together. I've seen him, I guess, progress as an artist and creative. So I really wanted to share his story and what he's been doing, and his album was really touching for me. Not everyone was able to, I guess, pick up on a lot of things on it, but I was his references to Michael Jackson or whatever. I knew that a lot of people didn't. He shouted out the Southeast. A lot of people don't know he's from the Southeast. Just I don't know. It's a really cool vibe having someone that's also your friend to also come along because you want to share their story and help them grow as much as possible. And I see really, really large things for him in future. And I feel his maturity is beyond his age and his music. He speaks like someone that is in his late 30s, in terms of music and lyricism. And then, I just really wanted to share his story. And then onto Scooby. Now, Scooby, he was keen on jumping on the podcast. Him and his community were really pushing to come on the podcast. They were all his community was tagging him, you got to get Scooby on. You got to get Scooby on. And I put up a post, tag yourself or a homie or a friend if you want to be in the podcast. And Scooby's name came up the most. So as me, as a person that put that post up,
got to reward that.
I have to reward that.
Yeah.
So he came onto the podcast, and the main reason behind that was because he was growing and coming out of such a stage in his life that was really, really hard. 3 years of imagine being blacked out for 3 years and then finally becoming sober.
Yeah, and that clip was wild about his manager just wanting him to just be in the party scene. That is just
and not to
wild.
hate on that,
just drink, just forcing him to drink.
And not to hate on record labels because there are some really good ones that will promote artists' talent the way they want. However, this particular manager, and I don't know the record label name or what they named them.
Obviously, one of the worst.
Obviously, not what you want.
Yeah.
If an artist manager is telling you you have to put on this image, I'm giving you money to go and drink and go get fucked up to put on this image. That's not a good image.
Wow.
That's not a good place to be at the age of 17 years old.
So how old is he now then?
19 to 20.
Okay, gotcha.
19 to 20, but to come out of that personal development, that's a story I really wanted to capture. And the main thing was provide value to someone listening. Because if there was someone going through their process of sobriety or addiction, if I could capture that and help them, because we're so relatable as humans. We go on emotion. So if someone else was able to go on that and perhaps even have the smallest chance of coming out of that, for me, that means everything.
Yeah, that's definitely, man. Well, with Scooby, Scooby's interesting because before your interview, there was a bit of allegations that was going around about him. And I think he addressed a little bit, you know, in the podcast and that sort of stuff, but it is very touchy subject. So, like, do you kind of, is it like a cognizant decision to kind of stay away from that? Or do you kind of like, if it's the right topic, you want to dive into it?
If it's the right topic, if it's something negative that's just going to cause more bullshit in the music scene, I'm not going to touch on it.
Yeah.
Because as the people that are listening on RollingUp Entertainment, I don't want them to come to RollingUp Entertainment for drama. That's not
or to be like attacked, quote unquote. Yeah.
I don't want it. There's no value in it for me, nor the person listening. As the person that's listening, I want them to gain value and go home with something. That is the main purpose of this podcast, the people that are listening.
Yeah.
You're listening for a reason. You're listening because you want to gain something out of it and you see value in it. Or else you wouldn't put your time and put your earbuds in to listen to it. Because time is the most valuable asset in the world.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So
you're not lying.
people will come to the podcast because they want to hear something real. And although yes, it is entertainment, I don't want to touch on all the crap essentially. I want to touch on the positiveness, how you can uplift yourself, how you can grow 1% every day, how you can become the better version of yourself, how you can help others. Like, list goes on.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask you about, you know, your interview process because at Real Melbourne, I feel like we've been blessed, you know, to get these nuggets out of certain guests where they wouldn't touch on these topics at all or touch on certain things on any other platform, even if they're on their own platform and that sort of stuff, even on like the gram or something like that. So I'll ask for you, like, you've gotten some really good moments from your podcast. Like, what's your secret and how do you how do you get the best out of the interviewer?
The best out of the interviewer. The best way to prepare before any
interviewee, sorry. Yeah,
the best way to prepare before any interview is to over prepare. You can never just come into interview and expect that you're gonna get all this amazingness. Anyone that comes on to RollingUp, I dig as deep as I can because that is my job.
So you do like a Nardwuar type shit.
Yes, like a Nardwuar. That's a really I'm not sure if anyone's heard of Nardwuar. How do you even pronounce Nardwuar?
Nardwuar.
Yeah. He goes to like big artists and like probably shows them like their first ever song or like CD and like
they have
copy.
they have their first
and not
song
even
on like vinyl.
Yeah, not even
shit.
the artist will have this, and
Yeah.
the artist will freak out like, how did you find this? Like, I don't even have this.
Yeah.
And the value that brings to the artist is like it's such a big fulfillment.
Yeah,
So,
and they get, and I guess like you see it so many times, like there is like a compilation of like the reactions, that celebrities get with Nardwuar. And like to Nardwuar's credit, like he was so dope with Pharrell's interview that Pharrell was like, you have to interview JC. I'm going to set this up. You know?
Yeah, no, definitely. But the way the process goes is I will write a few questions I want to go off, but how it really had the one secret, if you want to call it that, I get these like nuggets is actually being present. Actually listening.
Active
listening. At the moment, if you could be just trying to think of the next question, think of like anticipating what's going to happen, and I could touch on something that's absolute gold. I could say I'm going to become a rapper, and that could completely go past your mind because you want to go on the next question, and it's just not being in the present moment. So it's active listening on a complete level, just like surrendering yourself and just being in place in this moment, not what's happening tomorrow, not about next week's gig, about this moment, because that's all we have.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, just I guess to try and treat it like it's a regular ass conversation. That's how we've kind of had the best.
I mean,
content.
At the end of the day, it is. It is. That's the thing about a podcast too, because you can put up a 30-second clip of yourself on Instagram saying like flexing or putting on this image, but once you come into a podcast after a certain amount of minutes, it's hard to put on that image. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard to fake it
it's hard to fake. It's hard to fake it for a long time, and internally the person can't. It's like not in their natural sense to keep putting on that image. So they'll usually in a podcast they'll like mellow down. You obviously come to a more deeper level of conversation.
Yeah.
And that's where all the juice happens, man. That's where all the sauce happens.
That's what it is, man. What's been your favorite interview so far, and what have you learnt the most, even just
in Melbourne, or like off yourself?
From your podcast, that sort of stuff. Like, what's been what have you considered, your great moments through your podcast, and what was the other question I'm trying to think of? Like, what have you learned from even just the whole process of doing the podcast now for a couple of months now?
That's a big question. It's a great question. I don't have a favorite interview.
They're all your babies, right?
They're all beautiful. Yeah. They're all beautiful. Even my first one. Mm-hmm. Get this. So my first, not interview, but I'd call it podcast, episode 1 was 1 minute. Mm-hmm. This took me 40 takes.
Dang. Because you wanted it perfect.
Because I wanted it perfect.
Yeah.
And you learn. I came to the second one. It was a 15-minute long podcast, again with myself, just episode number 2. Mm-hmm. And I did it in 1 take. Mm-hmm. Because I was in that zone. I was like, nah. It's just, if I fuck up, I'm gonna fuck up. Mm-hmm. That is what it is.
Yeah.
And I like to keep it super raw too. Mm-hmm. So I'm not editing a bunch of pieces out and like keeping this part, not keeping that part. I want to keep it as raw as possible because that's the truth at the end of the day.
Yeah, Phil.
In terms of moments, I've had a lot of great moments that have kind of blown me back. Even JC talking on, I guess his process with just truth and understanding that, just trusting the process. Mm-hmm. And I've actually been very in tune with myself, that trusting that you will make it into whatever avenue you want to get to. Without trust, we have nothing. If you don't believe in yourself, then it's not going to happen.
Gotta have the faith, man.
Yeah. If you didn't believe you were going to become a DJ, if you didn't believe that Real Melbourne was actually going to work out, it wouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you set the vision early.
Yeah, if you don't believe that, trust is such a beautiful thing, and people can put themselves into like a meditative state on that. Mm-hmm. You can actually, so your body doesn't know the difference between this moment and tomorrow. Your body doesn't know the difference, so you can trick your body to feel those emotions and create new like neurological pathways to feel that already. So if you say, let's say for instance, you had a gig tomorrow at, we'll call it, name a venue.
A venue, not Diamond Saturdays, was Love Machine.
Love Machine. All right, you got a gig tomorrow at Love Machine. There's going to be around 30, 40 people there.
No, there's going to be a lot more.
There's going to be a lot more
there.
All right, it's Alex's. First off, it's Alex's gig, so there's going to be like 200 people there.
Not even. I can't sell tickets for going.
No, 200 people there. And if you're not in the mindset already before going into that, yo, this is about to be the best gig ever. People are going to pop. People are going to vibe to this. When I play this song, we're going to go on a new level. Mm-hmm. And what I like to do is kind of close my eyes and feel the senses of that already happening. And once that already happens in your mind, when you get to that moment, it's already happened. Mm-hmm. So you're living in that moment.
So
me coming into this... Sorry.
Yeah, no, do your thing. No, go ahead.
Me coming into this, I knew that I want to bring as much value as I can to anybody that's listening.
So you saw this already?
I saw this already. I already knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to happen. I already felt it happening. Mm-hmm.
But when you found out about it, you knew what the type of energy that you wanted to portray.
Correct.
On the podcast.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's a very... 100%. A lot of people think it's some weird voodoo crap, whatever you want to call it.
Nah, it's energy.
It's energy. Yeah. End of the day. Just do what works for you. Mm-hmm. This works for me. It works for a lot of people. End of the day, I have my own process, and there's no single or one process that's correct.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
Inspirations, like what do you like to listen to? Whether it be world or local, like.
We'll first go off unrelated to music. Gary Vee is definitely a big inspiration. Yeah. He's a massive inspiration.
Got it.
Pop. He's this guy's like hustler, like more. Truth, that's what I got off him. Even speaking to him like live was like...
Oh, so you saw him live then?
Yeah. Saw him live. Went to Melbourne Convention Centre, saw him live.
Yeah.
My homies were all sitting down. They're all like, yo, you gotta get up, bro.
Yeah, did you get it to ask the question?
Yeah, so I immediately went up, and then I did not have a question.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if anyone that knows Gary Vee, this guy's an entrepreneur. He's an advocate of happiness. Happiness above everything. I'll leave it at that.
And he also runs a social media marketing
agency.
VaynerMedia.
Correct. He runs a bunch of stuff. But anyways, onto the story. He said, if you want to come up and ask questions, come along now. So I went up. I did not have a question in line. There was maybe 5 people in front of me, and damn, your boy was nervous.
Sweating bullets.
I'm honestly all right at public speaking, but when you don't have a question and you're not prepared, it's rough. Right? My ass was on my phone like, shit. What do I want to say? What do I want to learn? Because he's so transparent with his content. He kind of gives everything away already.
But the good thing about Gary Vee is like your question could be your situation and how you can move to the next phase. Like literally, that's the question that he gets. I feel like the most, and he's got an answer most of the time.
Yeah. So I went up there. Eventually, was able to hone in the question and like tune into myself. And I said, because I was actually thinking about starting a podcast at that time, and I said, I was like, everyone else was kind of very mellow, like, oh hey Gary Vee, like, I want to know this about like myself. How can I improve myself? And then I came in with a different angle on others. Everyone was very selfish in this way, and I came in with this different angle of, all right. And I was like, Gary motherfucking Vee, and everyone just started laughing because there was a different energy. Yeah. And I was like, all right, so we understand hip hop rules the world. It's a saying that he says. And I said, when interviewing, podcasting, producing content, and talking to artists, beyond truth, what is the most important thing to focus on? And he says, you've kind of already answered it.
True.
He's like, it's very interesting the way you worded that question, because you've already answered the question. Truth is always the answer. And that's kind of just stuck with me since then. Like, he said that in person. I'm like, oh. It's just that aura, like, oh.
Yeah. Well, I guess that kind of shows that you're already in the right direction, and to get that validation from Gary.
To get that validation
incredible.
Is something crazy, and I spoke to his videographer D-Rock after, and I was like, he's a hustler too, and yeah, he was like more than welcome to help us, not help directly, but he's like, yo, if you need any, like, if you want to pass on any artists, let me know. And I was like,
wow, you can be a link to Gary Vee, bro. That'd be nice.
Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
If there's one amazing tool that you can use.
Your phone.
Google, bro. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Stuff.
So who else? Gary Vee's definitely a big one. J. Cole, in terms of music, has been a very big. That was kind of my first stepping stone into music. In early high school, I was like, yo, J. Cole. Podcasting. Who else in the podcasting? I can't really think of anyone else.
Doesn't necessarily have to be podcasting, but maybe just you admire as an interviewer.
Yourself?
No.
Yourself, shit, definitely.
He's trying to flatter me over here.
No, for real. Hearing, because, I mean, once you see it already being done, there's a blueprint left behind. Do you know what I mean? If someone else has already done it, that means it can be done. That's in anything. If you want to get as big as Drake, you can, because he's leaving behind a blueprint. History leaves clues. Success leaves clues.
Yeah.
And I think one of them is mentoring. Mentoring's super important.
Yeah. Mentoring.
Without a mentor, a lot of the most successful people alive wouldn't have gotten to where they are. Think of any like successful person, billionaire, let's say.
Yeah, they've it's either they've had a mentor, a cosign, whatever it is.
Bill Gates had a mentor. Steve Jobs had a mentor. Mark Zuckerberg had a mentor. Why do they have mentors? There must be a reason for this. And now, as individuals that aren't on that level, we must consider that. If I want to up my game, there's something I probably have to change, correct? And the best advice I would give is seek mentorship. In whatever field. If you want to be, I don't know, like a doctor, try and connect as much as you can to a doctor in the highest field and network with them. Provide value up front, then that's the most important. Provide value up front, then find your way to connect and create that rapport.
Yeah. Because you get rewarded later.
Yeah. 100%. If that's in anything, even the whole Melbourne scene. If I was an artist right now, I'd be looking for the closest person to the top in Melbourne, and I'd be connecting with them and asking, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Not, yo, share my music because I'm the best. That's the wrong approach.
Yeah. Well, I've got an artist came to me. Sorry to cut you off, but an artist came to me, and he was talking about how like it's very expensive to put out music and that sort of stuff, and I really want to collaborate with people and I want to reach out, but like I don't know if I'd be able to afford features and that sort of stuff. And I'm like, man, provide value. Like go through the playlist, go to the Real Melbourne playlist, listen to the songs that you really vibe with, and reach out to these people and be like, yo, I'll do a free verse for you for your remix, or it could be another original, whatever it is. Like, provide value, so that way you get your placements. You're not losing money. Like, you've got time. Like, if you got no money,
so that's the number one thing that I think a lot of young people get wrong. They're entitled to this thing. I need to get paid straight away. Yo, you haven't done nothing.
Yeah.
You haven't done nothing.
Pay your dues. Yeah.
Pay your dues first. It's like 100% pay your dues first. Give value first. People want to reach the top without helping others along the way. Yeah. And it doesn't work like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And
I'm sorry.
And I kind of like updating the playlist a lot because it kind of shows you how regular playlists work, in a sense where they're always putting new music up first. So like it's already been like a month and a half into the new year, but there's already about 30 to 40 new songs. I know it changed crazy. I've seen it. It changed really. To tune out a lot of music, like I think Adrian Swisher's got the best mentality for that, because he's got, I think like, he's got the studio, he's got.
I'm really liking what he's doing.
He's got the beats. He can engineer his ass off. He can do vocals. So you see him on everyone's record.
Very, very club vibe. Like you're like, yo, how does this guy not popped yet?
Yeah,
Adrian, I see you. Don't worry.
Yeah, most definitely. So like, an Adrian Swish mentality for Melbourne artists would be great as far as features and providing value. Like you see Adrian on the playlist, and even if I'm not putting every one of his songs on the playlist, like he's consistent. He's working with anyone that he thinks is dope from the city.
Consistency is very key too, because you can. It's very easy to drop off. So when you drop off, it's harder to get back on. Let's use the analogy of gym, or so you go to gym every day. If you choose not to go on that one day, it's so much harder to go on the following, rather than just doing it, doing it. Same with music. I see a lot of artists that are like up and up. Oh, they're here. We see him. Yeah. Hey, wait, where did he go? But that there's also a different thing where like, oh shit, they kind of leave the community waiting. Oh yeah, what's next? So that's another topic.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I'll move on to something else. Something that I've really been excited to see, and that's Aussie artists getting into these different markets. Kid Leroy was on Genius.
He was on the No Jumper podcast.
And No Jumper as well, which is big to see. Months before we had Chillin' It, on Charlie Sloth. We're seeing these Aussie artists tapping into different markets, that sort of stuff. What can we do as media, the people in the city, to build up our platforms and, get us, to a bit of a respectable stature?
How do we get to the next level?
Yeah. So like, people are almost looking at us like, yo, that's the platform to be on. And
content is going to be the number one. You can put out 100 episodes. If you're putting them out on one platform, say just YouTube, that's not going to reach many people. I'm sorry, it's not going to reach many people. But if you're on it, the way I've done is I'm diversifying myself off every platform. And I'd advise any creative to do that. Not even just in music. And if you're in business, diversify yourself as much as you can on every single platform. Because just like Facebook's dead. It's dead. Pretty much, if you're above 30, then you're going to be on it. If you're a 15-year-old, you don't know what Facebook is at the moment. If you're 10 years old, you're not going to make a Facebook account. It's not what's popping. So
yeah, that's interesting because we grew up with it, so we grew up with it, and we still use it like just to check up and that sort of stuff. But yeah, the new wave may not necessarily be on that.
The new wave is these new platforms, and you need to diversify yourself because you never know what's going to happen on Instagram tomorrow. You never know. Instagram could completely collapse. They can go bankrupt, and your 1.5 million followers could be lost overnight. Just because you didn't want to diversify yourself over all those platforms.
Yeah.
So as media, I think it's very important to make sure we're available on all the platforms and provide value, because that's what people are gonna get connected with.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you say that, like we can. I mean, you could say that for kind of any.
This is any industry. This is not just music.
Not just like I'm talking about as far as like platforms go. Like that could happen to YouTube, that sort of stuff as well. Yeah. Obviously, I think the best connection and direct to consumer is like subscription with email and that sort of stuff. Yeah. So that I don't know how that would work as far as like podcasts and interviews would go. But I'm definitely doing that with my beats and production that's coming up really soon. But yeah, what are some ways to stay with your consumer and really connect?
I think the next kind of wave is going to be through text, and I've seen Gary Vee do it. And it's going to be getting...
Well, nightclubs do that shit as well. They get you in the fucking clubs and shit. You know,
getting people's numbers is going to be... You know who's really done it? BCM.
Okay.
BCM, with the Mr. Sheeny project. They're the first person I've ever seen in music to do it.
So you got a text from him?
No, I didn't. Actually, yeah, I did. Yeah, so we got a text. They put out the text. It was... I think it was a preview of the song, but getting people's numbers in future is going to be a thing where, because as soon as you get a text, you look at your phone. If you get an Instagram notification, you're like, oh, I'll check that later. Facebook, oh, I'll check that later. Text, you're like, oh, yo, this must be important. Yeah,
right. Yeah, that might be a thing right there. Yeah. Like I was saying, like the clubs are still messaging me like, come in before 12 o'clock, get your free entries, get your drink card, whatever. That's still a thing.
Emails
they'll work sometimes.
Yeah, emails are cool, but eventually, who knows what will happen to emails? Who knows? So I think it's try and gather as much data as you can on the consumer as well to target that target audience and segment pieces of content onto that.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, shit. Man, I'm just trying to think of where else we can go, but yeah, like I'll go back to I appreciate platforms like yourself, like Zill, because there's
shout out to Zill, shout out to a bunch of platforms.
Yeah, because they're doing their thing.
Culture Sound,
and like I was saying to you behind the scenes, like real Melbourne can't necessarily cater to everyone.
Yes,
nor that we want to, but there might be platforms like yourself, like Zill, that will cater to certain artists, and vice versa. You guys may not take certain artists or whoever, but we may. So I think it's really cool to have this space for media. And the question I'll ask you is, how's your selection process when it comes to getting guests on?
Selection process. Now, before I jump into that, I liked how you touched on the other platforms. If you can't connect to myself or Alex, there is Culture Sound.
Yes, Culture.
They're in the southeast. If you're in Sydney, there's The Den of Truth by Tino. He puts on a really good podcast. Like, he's talking to people from Triple J, how that built up Kid Leroy. If you're in Brisbane, there's Beats in the Biz. They do a great podcast. They talk to Cursor. If you're not even in, I guess, directly to music, you can go to other podcasts like the Disruption podcast. There's so many other avenues as well.
Yeah.
If you can't make it, there's other ways as well. Or create your own podcast. As much as that may seem hard, it's like essentially I could do this off my phone. You can create a podcast genuinely off your phone.
Yes.
There's an app called Anchor.
All right.
I'll put this out. Yeah. There's an app called Anchor. Instead of going to a website to host your own podcast hosting, there's an app called Anchor that distributes...
Gary Vee was promoting it earlier.
It did. Yeah. So it works awesome. I use it. It distributes all your content to every platform.
All right.
To Spotify, Apple Music, all in one hit.
Wow.
Yes, but... I'll get the H2O, bro.
Yeah, gotta.
Onto how my selection process goes. The number one thing I look for in artists that come along is truth. If you're truly yourself, I'll be talking to you one day. that's just what it is. But in terms of selection, I've already got a list gone down, and I'm just going through that over the next couple months. Individuals like Scooby, I felt at that time that was very important, so I kind of moved him up because I'm like, oh, yo, I actually need to cover this now because he's really developing. And he said it for himself offset, like, dude, this was really important for me because I actually got it out and addressed it now. And I don't think I would have been able to do it any other way.
Right. Because, he may not have been comfortable enough just jumping on his own.
He said, I didn't want to address it on Instagram. It's just, I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
He said, this was actually the only way I could have done it.
And some people may feel comfortable with another person addressing it to them, being on a platform, that sort of stuff. So then it's like...
if you want to see it, go together.
Yeah, in a sense. And it's not like... People still feel like, if you address something on your own platform, you're insecure or whatever. But then if you're on a platform, you can make the excuse of like, no, that person brought it up. You know what I mean? And I just answer.
In terms of selection process, I have a lot of people messaging me. And one thing I'd advise is don't place it like I have to get you on, or like, I'm sure you've had this, that people say, you have to have me. Make it like, yo, if you don't have me, you're going to lose. And for me, I'm like, dude, come on, don't word it. Think of it. Try and word it the correct way. Try and at least word it the correct way, because they come off a bit too much on top, like pressure. Like, yo, you haven't got me on yet. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. And
as a person that's looking to get people on, I'm like, yo, I don't really want that energy, especially in conversation, because I just won't feel comfortable.
Most definitely.
But its selection process is it's really interesting. You would know. You would know. Because you have so many artists, and like you also have friends that want to come on, and you want to put on like both. And then you also have people that are outside of the kind of music or not directly artists that you kind of definitely want to talk to. So it's a hard thing to do. It's not easy.
Yeah, man.
It's not easy.
I'll ask you another question. Like something that I've been battling with, mixing business with personal, and being distant with certain people from the city just because I've gotten to know them on a personal level and not liking their character. So unfortunately, I kind of look at, like, I never wanted to look at the platform as being biased, but when I know too much about someone and it's mostly negative, it's like I have to kind of distance myself. Okay. Are you kind of cognizant of that with guests as well for you?
And actually, I haven't even like...
You're probably not far too deep into like
just because I don't really judge people of what others say.
But it's a personal experience mostly I'm talking about.
Okay. You know? I guess I honestly haven't been in the scene that long to have personal conflict. So it hasn't occurred. I can't say like it's occurred. So it hasn't for me. It hasn't.
You're
really,
fucking lucky.
It hasn't come up. It hasn't come up, which I'm really grateful for. Yeah. I've only gotten positive vibes from everybody that's come in and people that are watching and listening and consuming content. So I'm really grateful to not go off that personal level. But if I was, damn, I didn't. It's a very awkward situation to be in. Yeah,
because like unfortunately I look at people from Melbourne and I look at it like I can do more for you if I don't know you.
Yeah.
So like if I don't know you, I don't know you on a personal level, I have no sort of connection to you, I can just promote you, go crazy with your music, all that sort of stuff. If I know you, there's a personal bias there, and that's fine. But it may get to the point where it's happened quite a few times where like I find out some stuff, I see too much, and I'm like, I need to distance myself, and I can't do anything for you because I don't fuck with that behavior.
And I say that's right by you, because as humans, we feel energy in the room and we know intuitively when something's off. And obviously you don't want to have a podcast with someone that you're not comfortable with. Yeah. So it's just, if intuitively it doesn't feel right, I don't think you should do it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. That's the basis of it.
That's why I speak on, we need guys like yourself. We need guys like Zil, because like I can't do everyone, man. I can't anymore, man. I mean, and it's tough. Like I hope you don't get any bad experiences with, you know, artists and that sort of stuff, and you're not too far deep into it like myself. But you know, being in this game for a little bit now and doing the podcast for getting close to a year now. Like, things happen. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Not everything's gonna go as planned.
Yeah.
Some people are gonna cancel on you. It's happened to me.
Yeah, cancellation's fine. I'm just talking
like,
about like
it's just-
being cool with someone and being like being homies and that sort of stuff, and then just finding out way too much. Like, you know.
Oh, I've definitely heard things about artists, and I'm like, yo, I don't know. Like, for me in person, it's a different experience, and I'm not gonna ask them about that because that's a whole another topic of drama. And
I feel
that's not for me, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, it just circles around to just negative energy for me. Mm-hmm. It's not going to bring anything to anybody.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it's what you were saying before, man. You just want you want the listener to get something out of it, and it's mostly on a positive level, though. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's it's also crazy, man. It's like I was saying to Brian at one point, man, like, because Brian hasn't been here for about 4 to 5 months, and like a lot of things were happening at the time, and I'm like, man, it's a jungle out here in the city, right?
Yeah, Brian's gonna come back and he's gonna be like, yo, what the?
Yeah,
yo, fucked up. What happened with Abby?
Yeah, well, he knows because I've been keeping him posted. But man, it's it can be a wild place, man. But
I mean, that's with music, like artists as well. There's so much going on. There's so much drama that you can look at, and that. I mean, if I watched everyone's Instagram story, I'd go crazy, and I can't.
Yeah.
As much as I want to keep up with music.
Yeah,
I try to avoid that. I'm like, whatever. Like next, I'm focusing on the music and what's actually happening.
Well, it actually makes you think of like, yo, how crazy must LA be then?
I mean that's the thing that like a lot of channels are going in that direction where they just focus on like this person's beefing with this, Drake's is beefing with like Meek Mill's.
It's kind of like Hollywood Unlocked in a sense,
and it does get played.
Yeah,
it most certainly will get played. You can gain a lot of traction from that. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, as a content producer, as a whatever CEO of that podcast, whatever you want to call it, what is that bringing for you? Like, intuitively, how does that make you feel? Like, what are you contributing to the world? Yeah,
I think it's like I don't mind platforms addressing beef, like it's clicks and we go for it and that sort of stuff. Yeah. But like it has to kind of I guess maybe come from a good place and being good taste and that sort of stuff. I feel like that's why a lot of people were going at Gayle King, for those questions about Kobe Bryant to Leslie, I think her name was, the basketball player. So the questions that she was asking were kind of insensitive, and like it was kind of hypocritical when she was like, yo, should people still be talking about it, like the right case?
I did see something on that. I rarely touched on it. I was like, whatever, this is gonna go on a whole rabbit hole. Bro. But like I feel like as long as it's coming from a good place and a place of understanding, because like in with Real Melbourne, like we've addressed like really real fucking topics and that sort of stuff, deep shit, but and also we always pride on the guest being comfortable, and if you're not comfortable, don't answer it. Just 100%. Say no comment. I mean, even back to what you were talking about relationships, you don't want to burn bridges. I've seen a lot of artists burn bridges way too early. Or like just burning just
in the city, or you're just
in the city. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, you're burning a bridge for no reason. If you become like the bigger person and look to it in perspective, like if you build someone up along with you, the scene is gonna grow together. Yeah. And like it's about this unity at the moment, because that's what's happening with everybody. Yeah. And I think, people burn their bridges way too early or get cut off really, really minimal things, like just really minimal things. Yeah. It's really ridiculous.
That's the other thing as well, burning bridges as well. Like, I don't want to air out any of my personal issues with people in the industry, because I do want the scene to grow. Yeah. Whether, like, my personal feelings for this person, that person, regardless. If they win, City wins. Yeah, like that's kind of my mentality with it. And I'm not trying to burn my Melbourne brothers or my Melbourne sisters or anything like that. I want us to fucking build and that sort of stuff.
A lot of people do
fuck my personal issues or whatever. Like, that's going to be like a headline.
A lot of people will burn their own bridges by putting someone else down too. Like. Yeah.
Now this is what I'll do. I'll tell certain people, like, if they're messing with them, I'm like, watch out for that person. Yeah. I might tell you my experience with that person, but I'm not going to say things publicly. Yeah.
Nah, fair call.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a wild one out here, bro.
It's wild. There's a lot of things going on in the city. Not just what I'm really, really loving at the moment is not just artists that are doing their thing. It's media. Like I've seen so many videographers come out. Like it's wild what the videography scene is doing. Like,
it's nuts, isn't it?
It's nuts. It's ridiculous, and there's so many photographers as well. And that's what I'd advise anyone that actually likes music. Okay, if you're not going to be a creative in a sense of, if you're not a rapper, if you're not even a photographer, there's so many other avenues to go down.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that's what I didn't realize. So, like, when starting this, I never thought like I could go down that road, like, beyond just being a rapper or just being an artist. So when I discovered there's so many more roles with an artist. All right, so you have the artist, you have the artist manager, you might have a tour manager, you might have a booking agent, you might have a branding manager, you might have someone that looks over the clothing apparel, you might have like a audio engineer, you know what I mean, producer, etc.,
all behind the
songwriter,
scenes.
all behind the scenes. That's what I really wanted to get into with Rolling Up, because it's not just about the artists themselves. There's so much more that
You're
goes
trying
on.
to give everyone a voice, in a sense, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. There's so much more that goes on beyond an Instagram post, beyond this. This is the closest thing I think to it. That's why, because it's a long form of content that you can kind of cut up as well.
Yeah, man.
That's the beauty of a podcast.
Yeah, I'll ask about the way you produce your content. I haven't. I've checked out a few of the long form podcast episodes, but I feel like I already get the full podcast because you upload, about 10 clips of your interview to Instagram. Are you worried about the consumer kind of losing interest in like the full interview? A little bit like myself, because I feel like I've already got everything.
Yeah, no, 100%. No, I'm not worried at all. Yeah. I'm not worried at all.
But then again, it's just more eyes.
Because there might be that one piece of content that like oh yo, that one piece of content may trigger one person to go, oh yo, this is actually very interesting to me. If it's maybe that you got triggered off the record label, that must have enticed you in some way. Whereas if I didn't post that, it wouldn't have enticed you. Yeah, you know what I mean. So if that one piece of content hits the right person in the right way. Then someone might click on the video. Yeah, I feel you. If not, then if you don't click on it, you don't click on it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Your Instagram views are up. Then that's all good.
Yeah, I'm trying to expand myself over like all platforms. Yeah, TikTok as well. Get on TikTok right now.
But you were saying to me on live the other day, like, you have to do like kind of traditionalist TikTok content. Like, you can't be putting up podcast clips or anything like that there. Most
definitely, bro. You have to be native to the platform. You have to be native to the platform with any. On Snapchat, you're not going to upload your clip you're not going to upload your whole podcast.
No, you can't.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah. On Instagram, you're not going to upload your whole YouTube video. It doesn't really make sense.
Anyway, yeah. I
mean, you can't anyway. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you have to be native to the platform, and what's the culture of that platform. It's very it's so vital.
TikTok's interesting, man. Like, I don't know if you've known this just this stupid Grandma Sandy or some shit.
No.
Oh man, she's so entertaining, and it's interesting. I'm just like, oh, is she doing the same sort of content anywhere else? Nope. Like, on Instagram, she's just posting pictures and shit. So like, I kind of like TikTok for being its own platform and having its own original content and giving people a new way of looking at content and doing it.
Well, it's more truth.
Yeah.
That's why people actually watch it, because it's hard to flex on TikTok. You can easily post something on Instagram, a video.
Picture, right? You're like, you know what I mean? There's no pictures on TikTok.
Exactly. Yeah. So on TikTok, you actually have to produce original content. That's the thing. That's the difference between that and other platforms. That's what makes it so, I guess, that's why the consumer likes it so much. Because you actually have to be real for once. You can't flex anymore.
Do you think TikTok, I think, will definitely have legs, but do you think it'll take over like an Instagram?
I feel like it's already taken over.
Right, but like on a long form, in a sense, like on a like it's going to be the time where TikTok is that platform for a long time, whereas like Instagram's been that.
Oh, for a long time, there's no way to tell.
Yeah,
it's like saying.
I know it's no way to tell, but I'm just asking from your opinion.
No, I have no clue what's happening. All I know is if something's popping at the moment, it's like a media platform to jump on. I mean, social media platform. You need to get on it. You're missing out on opportunity because you think TikTok videos dancing videos are childish. I've seen plumbers on TikTok with 80K following just by posting plumbing videos. And how much business does that bring them?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Right.
I've seen JC that was on the same amount of followers as me. We're both on like 7,000 followers. I've seen him in 2 weeks go to 200K followers. I've seen...
Huge boost, yeah.
I've seen a girl that just does dancing videos. Very simple, nothing too crazy, on 27 million. You know what I mean? Someone that just posts a sign holding up a rating of someone's TikTok, they get 100K followers.
That's pretty healthy. Like, a lot of people can go viral.
A lot.
Very quickly.
I mean, one of my videos got like 450K views. What do you mean? What do you mean? Or I'll post the same video just out of testing it on TikTok, and I'll get more views on TikTok because there's so much underpriced attention on there. That's it. Your post gets shown to everybody, not everybody, but everyone in your area. And the more people that interact with it, the bigger it gets.
Yeah.
Whereas if I post that same piece of content on Instagram, only my followers will see it. No one else. If you're not following me, you're not going to see it.
Yeah.
On TikTok, my followers, people that aren't following me, are still going to see my video.
Yeah. I think maybe even a bit of both can work. When I say both, like true to the platform, TikTok content, as well as clips, because I'm speaking strictly with comedy because Lou Spears has been doing that. He's been doing like the shit TikTok memes. And
I know you're into Andrew Schultz too.
Andrew Schultz is amazing. Bro.
God, I love this guy. He's like the GOAT right now. He's so funny, bro. And he came to Melbourne and I missed it. It was hilarious.
I saw his show, man.
Yeah. How was it?
Great, bro. Like, and there was a guy in the front of the audience that purposely wore like some crazy suit. It was like
stupid ass.
It was like pink, and it was like a crocodile suit, literally. Like, it was ridiculous. I kind of liked how Andrew Schultz he's like, I'm not going to address that because he knows like, you're wearing that for a reason. Yeah. Like, you want to be roast. Like, other comedians before him were roasting him and that sort of stuff. That was funny. But I think Andrew Schultz likes the challenge. You know, he likes trying to find something out of nothing.
He does
it
from so well, like live too. He doesn't.
But
he did a whole set like off the top.
Oh yes, 40 minutes.
A whole special.
40 minutes straight.
How?
And this is the thing that Andrew Schultz doesn't get credit for. Very intelligent, very cultured. Like,
dude, he's not going down the Netflix path. He's creating his own special off YouTube.
But I mean, culturally, like he can pick anyone out of the audience. Most of the time, he guesses their race correctly, and he knows a lot about the country, the religion, whatever it is about that person. Knows a lot and can turn it into a funny.
Yeah.
And then, he'll, like, from their answers, he'll go on to, something else, whatever, come back to the guest, and then correlate the first thing that guest said. Like, the science behind it, man. Like,
his process is ridiculous. I have no clue how it works, but it works very well.
And, he can do comedy in Spanish also. Yeah,
I did not know
bro.
that.
I was watching one of his clips earlier today, and he's very good, man. Yeah, because he's studying in Spain for a couple of years or something like that. So he's got his Spanish down on lock, bro. Yeah.
Can you speak any other languages?
Nah. What about you?
Spanish.
There we go. So where are you from originally then?
El Salvador. So for anybody that doesn't know where El Salvador is, you have USA, you have Mexico, you have Honduras, and then a little place right in Central America, you have El Salvador.
Okay, so let me tell you about the El Salvadorian people that I've come across. Very introverted. So that's why I meet you. You're very extroverted.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Very introverted.
I feel like
they're shy, don't want to do too much. Like, they kind of like being in their own little nest. You're out here, very charismatic, very talkative, definitely different from who I've come across.
I don't think I've always been like this, though.
Okay.
I think there definitely was an introverted side, and there still is. I love being by myself.
Yeah.
I have so much energy being by myself.
Do you feel like that's a norm amongst El Salvadorian people?
Now that you've put it like that, I'm like, oh, yo, now I'm actually thinking about it. I'm like, yo, this is very normal. Yeah. But
not all Latinos want to party.
But in the culture, if you go to any Latino family, it's so funny. Like, everyone just roasts each other. That's what I love about it. It's a real, like, that's how you build like connection and relationships. It'll be someone you don't even know, and they'll start roasting you for for me, it was like for my height or some shit. Yeah. When I went over there, I felt like I was like 8 foot. Everyone else was like that much shorter than me, so it was real like they're like, yo, this person ain't from around here.
I feel you. And for a lot of people, that's how you really connect with someone. Like, if you don't feel comfortable roasting on each other, like, is there a real friendship there or something? You know?
For me, it's like very like, yo, if I ain't roasting you, we ain't that close yet. But it starts off very small and it builds up. I love a good banter. Everybody loves a good banter. I love like, you know what banter I do love? Have you seen Tev's and Drankwaters banter?
What they do on social media and shit,
I love it.
Oh, bro,
I live for that.
Even on the podcast, like Tevz and Brink were just like, you know, they were going at it. You know what I mean? Like it was pretty entertaining. Yeah, but you know, they're all homies, so it doesn't mean anything. You know,
that's the thing. That's the thing. I love entertainment. Entertainment rules the world, man. Entertainment, what we're doing right now, it's very impactful. And maybe not now, maybe not in 2 years, maybe not even 5 years, 10 years. Who knows what it can do? Yes, and you control the whole thing. Not that I'm like in search for power and like, oh, I'm about to do something to y'all. Yeah. No, but it's like, yo, like this is actually media is very important in culture.
Yes, most definitely.
Where do we get all our information from?
I'll ask you, where do you see Rolling Up and the direction that you want to take it?
The direction I want to take it at the moment, it's very much about just developing consistent habits of putting out content, getting a lot of people in, diversifying myself as well with individuals that come in. Women, I love women. Women are beautiful, and I want to hear their story too. A lot of my audience right now are males, and I want to get that female audience in too, because women make the world run. And they're very in tune with their feelings as well, which makes a very good story. But in terms of 2020, I do want to do some street interviews. Okay, some vox pops and that sort of stuff. That'd be sick. I actually thought of it. I did today, and I'll share it right now. So, Jalma, I'm hit you up. This may or may not go down the track that I wanted to, but so there's a Latin Fest at the moment. Jalma is Latino. We might do some Latino street kind of reaction videos to Latinos that don't know about Jalma's music, and I think that would be a very important thing for him, that to get involved in that Latino community, or VTMOC or any other Latino, or I don't know, just content like that. Maybe doing street interviews with like talking about Aussie hip hop in general, talking about who's popping, talking about do you even know about Aussie hip hop? Do you even know? Because like we know, the people listening know that there's something happening. Yeah,
that'd be a sick idea. Like it's kind of like Jimmy Kimmel got Drake to dress as like have a disguise and that sort of stuff, and they're like, oh, what do you think of Drake's music? So like instead of having yourself in front of the camera, have Jalmar being like, there's this Latino artist, what do you think of this person? He's originally from such and such, and like, oh, what do you think of his music? Oh yeah, he's really good, he sounds whatever. Oh, by the way, that's actually me. Oh really?
Yes. So that you pretty much painted the picture. Definitely street interviews. That's something I really want to get engaged with this year. 6K MC from Perth, they're doing it really well. I'm not sure if you've heard about them.
I haven't heard. No.
And get a lot more free rolls in, freestyles. If you don't know what a free roll is, freestyles. I want to get a lot of.
What's it called? Free roll.
Free roll.
No, I haven't heard that. Oh yeah, free roll. No shit. Yeah.
It was a name that came out of nowhere from one of Jordan Dennis's homies, the Milkman. And I was like, yo, what do you think of a name? Because obviously you can call it freestyles, you can call it fire in the booth. Everyone's 16 bars, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, what do you think? He's like, yo, free roll. And we're like, yo, free roll. That's such a good name. It's just the idea that you can roll it in whatever way you want it to be.
And if they body the freestyle, you just throw them a Subway.
I really enjoy the concept of a freestyle on after the podcast as well, because it gets them to express their really creative side too. Because I mean, rappers are always, they see a mic, they're like, yo, I need to get on that. And if you're not on that, like,
that's what it is.
You know what's really interesting to me? An artist that will perform in front of a very minimal crowd and will go out with a just complete. What do you see in that? what would be your best advice for someone that, okay, there's not a big crowd. What do I do? Speaking from an artist perspective, what do I do? What energy do I bring? What do I do in that situation?
You treat like, I feel like, and I always say this, Neezy is the best performer, entertainer that I've seen in Melbourne as far as an artist and commanding their music and that sort of stuff. Neezy would be able to rock a 4-person set or a 50 plus, you know what I mean? Because that's the energy that he has. I think if you have high energy, if you really connect well with the guests, you dictate the energy in the room. You can't necessarily depend the energy on people, especially if they don't know your music.
Tevz does this really well too.
Yeah, Tevz as well.
Tevz
most
does
definitely.
this really well.
Yeah, you need to the energy has to come from within, and you need to broadcast that, out there for people to kind of see. It'd be very hard to kind of rock. But DJ's the same thing. Sometimes I'm rocking, I'm in the side room at Crown. Sometimes I'm rocking to 30 people plus. Sometimes I'm rocking to 4 people. But it's just about that engagement and really filling them out and seeing what they like. You know what I mean?
I advise everyone that does have that, ever comes across to that situation that, I'm not an artist. Mm-hmm. Anything I've ever said, up until this whole interview
is bullshit.
Do it your way. Especially from a creative point of view, as an artist, I don't rap, so I don't know the first thing about doing music, or doing music in general. But one thing I would advise is, if it's 5 people, if it's 10 people, act like there's 1,000 people in that crowd and
go nuts with
it. Go nuts. Go absolutely wild, because people will feel that energy. Energy is not destroyed. Energy is only transferred.
Yes.
Yeah? Yes. Agreed?
Yes. So, of course. Law of energy.
There's only one thing that can happen, and people will kind of come closer. That's the only thing they can do. They'll be oh shit, I have to. I have to. The energy's got to go somewhere.
Most definitely, man. Any last words before we wrap things up, man? This has been a really great talk.
Oh, last words. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah, but break it down for people who, if that went over their heads.
So when I will use the idea of conflict. So when you come into a conflict, like we were talking about before, we use that. Seek first to understand, why are they really getting angry? Why are they? Is it really because of me? Is it because of something I did, or is it because they have an internal issue with themselves? Yeah.
Yeah.
A person might flip at you, be like, "Yo, that's actually there could be something completely going on at home with them, and we don't know." And that's the thing about everything. I don't know. You could be honestly having the worst day of your life up until this podcast, and I don't know. You could be going through some crazy depression, or complete opposite. You could be super happy. Just seek first to understand, and then to be understood. And what I mean by to be understood is find your way to convey your message as well. And
the best way possible as well.
In the best way possible for them.
I feel that. Feel that 100%, man. Yeah. Yeah,
just be in tune with yourself. Be in tune. There's so much thought that's always going through our head, and just even allowing yourself to just quiet down. Just take 1 minute of your day and do nothing. Do nothing. How much space are you leaving for the unknown at the moment? We're constantly in this rat race to kind of get to the next thing, do the next thing on a schedule, have to go to work, have to do an interview, have to start writing. Allow yourself to do nothing and see what happens. And it'll get your creative juices going someplace.
Yeah. That's why some of the best ideas are in the shower for me. Because I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. You just, I do it through a way of meditation, which I'm just kind of learning. People think of meditation that, you have to be some guru, or you have to be a full yogi to do it. Nah, it's just, meditation is just closing your eyes. Meditation is just breathing. One very good technique that's worked for me is, if you're ever in a feeling of unbalance, you don't feel right, something's off, or you're nervous. This is what I used before I went on with Gary Vee. 4 breaths in and 4 breaths out. That's really worked for me, like in terms of just keeping everything like kind of into that homeostasis, I guess.
That helps. Breathing techniques. And I also kind of look at situations like if I'm stressing out about something, it's not as big as I think it is. You know what I mean? I try to step back outside.
Yeah, take a look at your problem right now.
Objectively.
In the real big sense, is this gonna be the end of your life? Is this, if you don't make it to that gig, is this gonna be the worst thing for your career? Because you might have something that's a bit more important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, look at things from a big perspective, and just 1% every day. I think a lot of artists think they have to pop overnight, and like they're just waiting for that pop. But it's just 1% every day. Try and improve yourself in any endeavor. 1% every day, and that's what will eventually build up and have that compound effect in life to receive all that love. You know what I mean?
That's what it is.
You'll feel great. Just give it to others, man. Like you said, what's the way you end it? Like love everybody.
I'll get to that in the end. But appreciate the environment, love one another.
Appreciate the environment.
Yeah, protect it. Yeah,
the environment is so special. Yeah, everyone around us is so. I mean, we're a product of our environment. So if life isn't going as well as you want it to be, think about your environment. The way I changed my environment was internally. I put earphones on. I was listening to different people, because my outer environment wasn't the best. So it's not always you have to seek people, especially introverts. They're very like, I want to change my environment, but I don't really want to meet new people. So do it online. There's a whole other online community, like online friends that you can meet too. 1% every day, that's it. 100%. Live your best life. Don't let nobody stop you. Nothing.
One last question, because you've been a big support of Real Melbourne and the podcast and that sort of stuff. Who's someone, or even just an episode that you've really just gravitated towards? You're like, I felt that. Have we impacted? In
the Real Melbourne?
Yeah, with Real Melbourne.
Oh, like yes. So I was thinking about this on the way here, actually. Jalmers.
That new Latin sound.
I'm not sure about the whole episode, but there was one specific part.
I know what you're talking about. Uniques at the end, right? When he's talking about the environment?
No. It was actually Jalmers why. And he gave a very distinct reason why he's doing music. And he said something, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, I make music because I want people to feel happy. I don't want to be the best freestyler or put the hardest bars in there, but I know at the end of the day, I want my music to make people feel happy and feel good. So he already understands why he's doing music. And his lane, in the sense as well. Essentially, his lane. He's already there. If he already knows what he wants, if you understand your why, the how, it becomes a lot easier. Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah. I felt that as well.
If you understand why you're really doing this, like in music, all right, you might talk about bitches, hoes, and sex and all that, but why are you doing it? What is the real message? Why are you really wanting to be a rapper in the end of the day? Beyond being the best in the game. Okay, you're the best in the game. What now? What difference do you want to make in the world? You know what I mean?
That's the question.
In the world, and like for yourself. End of the day, you're creating yourself. Because that's just the ego getting to a certain point. All right, you want to get 1,000 followers. Cool. 10,000. All right, 1 million players. 2 million. All right. You're the best in Australia. The ego is always going to constantly want more. That's how the ego works. It's always going to want more. So just being in tune with yourself and understanding, your happiness is right here, man. It's just in the present. Happiness is right now. Time is just an illusion.
That's what it is.
Time is just an illusion. There's no tomorrow, yesterday. There's only now. Plan for accordingly. I'm not saying don't plan. plan your day. Plan your scheduling of whatever, but live now. That's the only time you're ever happy. Think about it for anyone listening. Think about a time you've ever been happy. All right, you're in that zone. I'm guessing everyone's got a thought right now. Now, in that moment, you weren't ever thinking about the past or the future. You were in that moment. Why? Because happiness is in the presence.
Pursuit of happiness. That's what it is. Like we do certain things We eat what we like.
Yeah.
We dress how we dress. We see the people that we want to see for the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully, all of these things that we do for my day will make me happy.
Yeah, like, hopefully if I have the best out of like my life, this will make me happy. It's like happiness is already here. It's just how you look at it, and gratitude is the only way to embrace that.
Gratitude, the attitude.
Oh yes, I like that. I like that. Yeah. It's been a pleasure having me on, man. I really appreciate it. I never thought I'd ever do something like this in my dreams, bro. For real. Real.
You've been a great guest, my friend.
I never thought in my longest dreams that I'd ever do an interview, man. It means like, bro, I'm like,
no, but hey, man,
for real.
You came with it, bro. You delivered.
I'm just trying to help one person. If this hits one person, it'll hit differently, bro.
Yeah, most definitely. Plug your socials. Where can people find you?
You can find us at RollingUp Entertainment across all platforms: Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. I think we're on Reddit too. Yeah,
damn, you're in the comments. You're in the forums.
Yeah, I haven't posted nothing on Reddit, but yeah, RollingUp Entertainment, Rolling Up Together Entertainment. Let's go 2020.
Yes, and you can
Stay beautiful.
Yes, most def. And you can find us at therealmelbourne.com playlist, MIXSHOWS, the podcast itself you'll find there. And we're posting up all the stuff on YouTube, we're on IG. Facebook is dead, but you'll find us there also. We thank Daniel from Rolling Up for coming through. It's been a really dope chat. And to leave us off, appreciate, protect the environment, love one another, and be grateful for what you've got.
Let's roll up. Let's go.